We got our main man, the one, the only, Saad Yousuf. He does so much great work around town, whether it's on radio, reading him on, listening to him there, or reading him on The Athletic. Wherever he is, it's always going to be great stuff. And he is a multi-talented, multi-tool player. So he's perfect for the mixed bag we've got in store for you tonight. But let's start with that topic, Saad. We're not starting with sports. Let's start with the whole daylight saving, no S, time. What's your take? You like standard time, daylight saving? Which one would you prefer?
I'm sorry to do this to you, Joe, but I gotta side with Andrew.
Okay.
I'm on the side of not liking the springing forward. Now I'm fine with daylight saving only because I like the fall when you get to go back an hour. That's great. And for me, give me all the darkness. Give me all the peace and darkness. I'm a vampire. I love it.
Yeah, give us the darkness retreats. That's what we're really here for.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And grab some of that ayahuasca while you're at it. No, thank you. No, thank you. But here's the deal, guys.
Oh boy.
You lose 1 hour for 1 day. And that's it. Because every other day after that,
how much gets disrupted by that 1 hour, though?
I promise you, every other day after that's going to have 24 hours in them. I promise you guys. I do.
Oh, boy.
It can be disruptive. I don't disagree there. You just have to prepare.
Speaking of savings, though, the Cowboys involved in a little attempt to acquire Maxx Crosby from the Raiders. That was obviously one of the biggest headlines heading into free agency this week. Saad, what did you make of the fact that they didn't land him, and did you like the fact that they did not necessarily break the boat to try and acquire him?
Yeah, I thought it was positive for the Cowboys all the way around. I mean, number one, the fact that they were legitimately in the running by all accounts and reports of people in the know. The Cowboys are always linked to whatever big player hits the market or in the trade market or free agency, but we never know how legitimate it is. It really felt like this was a legitimate attempt by the Cowboys, and I love that they have that aggressiveness in them. At the same time, I'm glad they did not give up 2 ones, because if you give up 2 ones and claim to be a draft and develop team, and you already are without a number 2 and a number 3 this year, and all of a sudden you're that limited, it's really tough for you to build a franchise and build a successful team going forward. And that's coming from someone. I totally understand where they are in the Dak Prescott window and how crucial it is these next 3 years. But you can't just completely, dismiss what the future of the franchise can look like. And no matter what the salaries and, what the salary cap situation is, the number one aid to getting out of a bad cap situation is draft picks. It's that cheap labor. It's the cheap contracts that you can get in the draft. So I like the fact they were involved, and I'm glad they didn't give up 2 ones for it.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. I would say this, it even furthers this notion and furthers this feel that we've had so far in this offseason. It does feel a little bit different. I think even Jerry Jones' harshest critics would have to admit things do feel a little bit different with the way they hired Christian Parker, with the way that they signed Javonte Williams so quickly as soon as they could, with the way they're going about this. Because you're right, Saad. I mean, so many times we've heard, the Cowboys kicking the tires on X free agent. And there were so many times when I'm like, they weren't really going to do anything, you guys. They weren't. That's the agents trying to hype up the value of their client. This time, as you mentioned, I thought it was different. I thought there was general interest. Now, I will say, as soon as I heard what the Cowboys were willing to give up, I'm like, well, they're not going to get him. But, but now, when it comes to, how much would they spend for a Trey Hendrickson? I think that the mode that they have to go into is being aggressive without completely breaking the bank. And I think those two things can be true. You could be really aggressive. You have to be really smart. That's where they're really going to make their hay in terms of, because the positions that they need help with, when you think about linebacker and safety especially, are not necessarily valued in this league. So there are ways that you can certainly put yourself in a really good position if you make smart moves, especially with those positions. What's your take, Andrew?
So my issue with the analysis is this. It's not that they haven't been smart in certain aspects of it. I like a lot of what they've done. I think it's funny, though, that you're going to say that they've gotten ahead of certain contracts like Javonte Williams, and then all of a sudden Brandon Aubrey, who is arguably one of the more valuable guys on the roster, is sitting here going like, hey, where's my money? And I'm not saying he's worth $10 million, which was initially reported. I know there's some issues with that side of it, Saad, but to me it's like you're gonna have a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and there is a little bit still of, well, we want to go all in on paying our best players what they're actually worth, and that's still a little bit frustrating.
Yeah, and here's the thing. It's actually everything they're doing contract-wise is actually par for the course in the fact that they've always got the middle contracts done pretty early. Remember, they got Trayvon Diggs, Terrence Steele. You go back to last year, Jake Ferguson. They'll get these guys, Javonte Williams, when they're at the middle of their position in terms of salary cap hit, they get those guys done. It's always the guys that are trying to reset the market, right? I mean, it's the Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, now Brandon Aubrey, who's trying to become the highest paid kicker, not to mention dealing with Todd France, who has taken the Cowboys to the ringer. That's Brandon Aubrey's agent, who is also Dak Prescott's agent. So it's pretty consistent. They get those guys that are middle of the pack at their position pay done pretty quickly. They don't really worry about that. Look at Osa Odigizua last year as well, but then look at Micah on the other side, Dak on the other side, CeeDee Lamb on the other side. So those are the contracts that usually stretch out. It's the ones that are trying to reset the market.
Yeah, another thing I would say about Brandon Aubrey is this, and we can't forget the simple fact, he's a kicker.
Sure.
He's a kicker. He's a kicker. He's barely a football player. He's a great football player.
Okay.
He might be one of the best kickers that has ever kicked a football.
Right.
But he's still a kicker. And so when it comes to the market with kickers, because there is a very real possibility, as great as Butter Aubrey is, he could fall off a cliff.
He could.
Right? He could.
Sure.
He could. I'm not saying that he will, but I'm just saying in terms of kickers, and when you think about the difference between said kicker and another kicker, 5-7 yards, right? Which has been fantastic for him. And I'm not taking anything away from Brandon Aubrey. I am reminding Brandon Aubrey and his representatives that he is still a kicker. And when you think about the difference between the incredibly great ones and the ones who are league average, it's just not big enough to worry about trying to set the market. Because here's the other thing. I mean, we're talking about 5.8 on the tender. What does he want? Do you want 7? Do you want 9? I mean, I don't believe, I hope the 10 million figure was just balderdash, which a lot of people think it was, because if he even said that out loud, I'd laugh at him too and say, enjoy the tender. So have fun with the tender.
So here's my thing. His value is part of the reason why we think the Cowboys are closer than they actually are, because he extends that offense's lethality just by the fact that he's on the field. And again, we're talking 5 to 7 yards maybe from league average, but that's farther, or it's the farthest range that's ever been in the NFL. And I understand, like I've been a fan of a team that had Maxx Crosby, who was one of the best kickers in the NFL. He had several seasons where he missed 5 field goals in a game, and he has gone up and down. Like that's part and parcel with kickers. I'm not suggesting that he's going to maintain that form.
But I'm reminding you.
But at the same time, it's also sitting there thinking, like, 3 points, especially when we've had that discussion where guys are more willing to go for it on 4th downs, 3 points rack up a lot more, and his value is, I think, is understated to a certain degree. And on top of it, you want to talk about resetting the market? He's closer to the top of his position than everybody else that's tried to reset the market for the Cowboys. That's the difference.
That's why I think Jerry Jones and company have smartly offered him the highest contract for any kicker in the league, which I think should be enough for Aubrey, but it won't because he's got Todd France as his agent.
Sure.
Right? And I get it.